Kenya's biggest conversation continues in the room this and every weekday morning is Eric Latif, Nduoko, and C.T. Muga. Let's talk about substandard goods and standardization of goods in the country. So you go to a market, to a shop, a supermarket, and you want to buy some certain goods. How do you know that this is actually, it meets the standard? There was the conversation recently about bread and whether the bread being sold is actually the amount, which is the weight.
Actually 400 grams.
It's the weight that they've said it is. In some cases, you're going to buy some certain product that says it has several elements in it. And it says, this one gives you energy, 75 kilojoules. This one gives you... How do you know that this is actually the case?
Or when they advertise, since we're talking of bread, they tell you it is whole meal. Okay. How do you know it is whole meal and probably not half meal?
Yes. How wholesome is whole? There's one agency in this country that's been given the mandate to make sure that things that come to the market have met the standard. All right? Standards are developed, standards are registered, and then people come to manufacture those goods and bring them to the market meeting those standards. Unfortunately, there are some people who unscrupulously decide standard is our. See, standard can be capital S or small s. So they bring you a small standard. How do you know that what you're getting is not what you are going for? Kenya Bureau of Standards, which is the agency that is given this mandate of ensuring standards and also enforcement of standards in the country, is now coming to us and saying, you know what, we can help you as well. And you can help us. If you go to the shop and you find something that you really are wondering, hey, this one, you can actually do something about it. You can find out whether it meets the master. And if it doesn't, there's a way you can report to them. But let's hear a lot more from the horse's mouth. And the horse in this particular case is Zeyana Mohamed. She is the Corporate Communications Manager at the Kenya Bureau of Standards. She joins us on the line. Good morning, Zeyana.
Morning.
Good to have you on the show. Welcome to the Situation Room.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So let's go straight into the campaign that you're running. You're calling it Wajibika na KEBS.
Yes.
What's it all about and what do you want us to do?
Okay, so Wajibika na KEBS was born out of the word Wajibika, which is a Swahili word that means to be accountable. So basically the premise was that us as an organization, we are accountable to the country. We are accountable to ensure that the products that are being sold out there are actually meeting the minimum standards. But at the same time, as a country, we passed a constitution. And we said sovereignty belongs to us. And therefore, contribution towards the growth of this country, its economics, its business, everything is upon us as well, as a Kenyan. So we're saying you're also accountable to the country. You're accountable to KEBS as well to ensure that we rid the country of substandard products. So the idea behind it is how do we get Kenyans actively engaging to help support rid the country of substandard products? Bear in mind, we have a massive wage bill as a country. So Kenya Bureau of Standards has about 1,200 staff members who are supposed to serve the entire country. Right? I mean, you do the mathematics. 1,200 people vis-a-vis 48 million. Yeah? So we can't be everywhere at the same time. And you are there, you're living in your house, you're buying products every day. You're coming across products that maybe we haven't had the opportunity to reach out and survey and see whether they're still meeting the standards. Yeah? So we are asking Kenyans to help us rid the country of this product.
How will Kenyans know? If I can just jump in there and ask, how will Kenyans know that this is a substandard product? I know that there have been times where somebody would purchase a product, bring it home and say, okay, there's something off about this. And then social media has been great because you can now put it out on social media and say, oh, look, this product doesn't quite work. I've opened the pack and, it's just not the right consistency, whatever. Is that one of the ways, or is that one of the channels that should be used to report these things? Or how else would Kenyans know that you're dealing with a counterfeit product or one that is not up to standard?
Okay. It's important for me to clarify something as I understand, as I explain that question. Kenya Bureau of Standards helps to deal with standardization of products. There's another agency that deals with counterfeits. That's a whole other ballgame, right? So we're dealing specifically with standardized products. So there's multiple ways of that accountability. For one, all manufacturers in the country are required to ensure that they meet the legal mandate in producing their products. They're guided by standards and they're told, these are your minimum standards, please ensure to stick by them. They have illustrated to the organization that this is what we meet, and we give them the authority to go and produce. One thing you need to understand is KEBS is not sitting at the end of a production line with a stamp. So we're not there stamping every packet of unga or every packet of bread. So it's very possible that after we've given you as a manufacturer the authority to go out and sell, and we're out there trying to monitor and survey whether you're still keeping with the standards, that you could start producing other things that are not within the standards, which we have seen, right?
Yeah.
So this is where, one, we're asking manufacturers, please follow the mandate, follow the legal protocols. Two, if you're a retailer or a wholesaler, don't buy products that are not certified. And how can you tell? You will see the standardization mark. If you don't see the standardization mark, whether import or export mark, then don't purchase those products. Don't be part of the supply chain that's distributing them. That's the second level. Third level, as you as a consumer, when you buy a product, there's usually our standardization mark. And under the standardization mark, there's usually a code. So first of all, first step, if you see a product you've never seen before and it looks suspect to you, send that code to 20023. It's an SMS. It gives you real-time the information, product manufacturing details. It'll tell you whether that certification is still valid. But here's another step. You might need the verification details, but you have a problem. You bought that bread and it looks lighter. You bought that product and it seems off. This company guaranteed you, 10 years warranty. And within 2 months, that product has broken down. It means something is wrong with it. So you can reach out to us on multiple platforms for Kenya Bureau of Standards. You can reach out to us through our social media platforms. Just search for Kenya Bureau of Standards, you'll find us. But you can also call us toll-free at 1545. Normally between working hours, 8 to 1 and 2 to 4.
Why only up to 4, surely?
Currently, because of COVID protocols, we're required to close earlier. And also at present, we're not getting as much uptake from Kenyans, which is why we're trying to come out there and tell people, call us. Call us. You guys are not calling us. You're not reporting.
Are there plans to make this a 24-hour service?
Yes, definitely there are plans to make it a 24-hour service, but also it's dependent on the uptake. That's why we're out here and we're singing this, call us, report these cases. Because obviously it will justify the need for it to go up to 24 hours. Yeah.
One of the things that would also make people not participate is if you called once and you didn't go through, you called once, then you're told it's lunchtime, or it's tea break time, or it's past 4 o'clock, tumefunga kazi tuongeleshe kesho, then that discourages me from participating in this very wonderful idea.
I understand what you're saying, which is why we're very clear on the working times and the days that we work, and so that we avoid exactly that. Because if you know that we're closed between 1 and 2, then there's no need for disappointment on your end when you're calling at that time.
Okay.
Actually, what we are actually saying is that 1 to 2 lunch break shouldn't exist. That people ought to be able to call you when they have the time. Because if you give that limitation, then that's the time I have, then I will certainly not call. And remember, one of the reasons why, for instance, supermarkets that suddenly realized it was in their interest to open for 24 hours understood that you want to give the prospective purchaser all the opportunities available to them. As opposed to this time when everybody goes there, it's chock-a-blocked, you can barely breathe. But that having been said, when you talk about standards, I'm looking at something like soap, okay?
Yes.
Beyond the big manufacturers of products, soap products, they are cottage industries. People who produce soap in their living room, in their
Their
bathroom.
home.
Yes, exactly. I am certain that there are standards that are required of them and
Yes, they are.
standards that they must meet.
Yes, they
Now,
are.
beyond just ensuring that they have these standards, do we have institutions within our government that actually encourages such people to grow their business? Because if you have government input into it or direction into
Yes.
which you can have input, then you are able to actually supervise and monitor. Otherwise, you will actually not even know it exists unless somebody whistleblows. And we know how that
I
goes.
agree. Yes. No, definitely there are multiple organizations. In fact, all the parastatals that are sitting under the Ministry of Trade and Enterprise all facilitate trade. If you ever have the opportunity, I want you to go to our pages and follow the Innovation Pipeline workshop. We bring together all the parastatals into one room and we speak to MSMEs and we guide them about how they can build their businesses up from concept development all the way to their commercial and viable. And there's a lot of subsidization by government to facilitate MSMEs. So the help is there. It's available. You just need to take it.
Actually,
But we're right here and we're saying we're here to support.
I agree with you. We ought to, but you can't take something whose existence you don't really know of.
I agree.
I understand what we're doing is supposed to help with that, but perhaps you should look for a budget that gives you a much bigger capacity to actually talk about these things to the country. Because, yes, people will hear this, but it's a one-off. It's something that people need to hear continuously. And as you say, Ministry of Trade, yes. We've even had the gentleman who is the CEO of this Innovation Hub. And the intentions are good, the plans are good, but it's a work in progress. And while it's a work in progress, people are innovating. They're not waiting for the structures to come into place. They are seeking to do what will serve their interest.
And just off of that, Zeyana, is that a lot of people are innovating, and guess what? They are selling. They are selling this product to people in the country. And you would be surprised at the number of folks who say, well, yeah, I would like to have my product on the shelf, but, I've not been able to get KBS as it is. I've not been able to get KEBS. So now, if we are saying that the process has been made a lot more seamless, this needs to be communicated, because the fear right now is that I'm going to be taken through a rigorous process. It's going to be very difficult. It's going to be extremely expensive. So guess what? I will manufacture in my bathroom and sell to my neighbors. Meanwhile, you could have a brilliant product that could actually be in shelves, but they believe that there's this limitation coming from the body that should actually give them the mark.
Yes. I agree with you. Definitely, we require to have to be out there a lot more, speaking to bigger platforms, spending a lot more time communicating with the public. We're trying our best. Of course, currently we're faced with limited budgets, especially because of austerity measures in the country. But it doesn't stop us either way. We're in the grassroots. We're participating in the villages, down to the grassroots. We're talking to them. We give about 100 free workshops a year. We do about 150 trainings a year as an organization. So we are actually engaging. But I agree with you, a lot more can be done.
We actually do not doubt the efforts that you make.
Yes.
The amount of work that this institution you work with or you work for are required to do, I think it's momentous. And given the reports and everything we hear about KEBS, excellent, wonderful. But you see, all this, I'm just repeating something you've said. It won't amount to much if the majority of the citizenry of this country do not really understand the benefits of the things we are discussing. They will hear it, but if they don't understand the benefits, they will continue with their merry way of doing things as they have always done. As we're speaking, what came to my mind? The small cottage industries that make cakes.
Yes.
Birthday cakes, wedding cakes, cakes. And I'm thinking, how many of them have a KEBS certification? And the people who even buy them, do they even care whether KEBS has given the stamp or not? They don't.
Maybe just a correction. We do give the standardization mark to packaged products. So, like, for example, the people who make cakes for weddings, that's mostly a public health initiative. Yes. But I agree with you, definitely a lot more needs to be said, which is why we have the Wajibika and KEBS initiative, because we do recognize the need for this information to reach the public. And we also recognize our limitations, especially with staff capacity and budgetary constraints, which is why we want to get everybody actively engaging. Because I'll give you an example. If today, having known what you know, yeah, I expect that we would be each other's brothers keepers. You will go back home, you see that next door neighbor of yours, that friend of yours who has this amazing product, but they're not aware about how they can participate, how they can get their product certified, how can all these things happen? I mean, just tell them, teach the next person, tell them these opportunities are there. This is a very user-friendly organization. Go, you will get the assistance that you require. So which is why we're saying we're hoping for the ripple effect that every Kenyan will actively participate. Every Kenyan will help us pass this message. Right.
Okay. So once again, Wajibika and KEBS, you go to a shop and you find a product and you have some questions or concerns about it. What do you do?
Okay, so I'll give you an example. If you walked into a kiosk and you saw that there was a problem with a product, maybe it's not certified or you can tell there's just something wrong with it. First step, speak to the shopkeeper. Bring out the concern to the shopkeeper. This product doesn't have a certification mark. Did you know that it's illegal to sell it? You've done one thing, you've educated to them. You've educated them if they were not aware.
Okay.
But if they were aware, you're giving them an opportunity to give you a response. In which case, if they tell you, I couldn't care less, escalate. Come to us. Report to us. Give us the product details. Where did you buy them? What was the situation? Because sometimes it's an ignorance issue. And sometimes it's just someone is doing things on purpose. But give them the opportunity. Maybe they just weren't aware.
Okay.
You're telling them, don't sell this kind of product. But report to us so that we can be able to assist.
And the reporting is what you said, call the toll-free number.
Call the toll-free number. Or you can reach out to us on our platform. Yeah, through Kenya Bureau of Standards, you can reach out to us on Twitter. You can reach out to us on Facebook. And we're always available to respond, especially on the digital platforms.
All right.
Yeah.
We thank you very much for that conversation. Zeyana Mohamed
Thank you.
is a corporate communications manager at the Kenya Bureau of Standards. So yes, they've launched this campaign and they want the public participation in this particular campaign. Wajibika and KEBS, go find something that you suspect is substandard. What do? You report to them, or some also you query when you see it has a standard mark of quality. You can query and find out, is this an authentic mark of quality? That is, does it come from KEBS or did the person just print and stick on the product? Zeyana, have a lovely day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.